neck, and all of a sudden I was like, man, what the fuck?
I think that might have been just an OBS thing.
Yeah.
What I think you might like. Um, Lee, you got a big echo. But yeah, it's like one of those things where you run out of RAM.
Yeah.
When you're like streaming with 6 people
Yeah.
on StreamYard, it's like taxing your computer.
Yeah.
You could literally get like a used office computer and it would run it more effectively than
Or
like
yeah, man.
than that Walmart. That Walmart one is it's cool for like simple stuff,
Yeah.
but after you like hit a certain threshold of power, you
Yeah.
kind of get beyond what it's offering you. Oh,
Yeah.
people in the chat.
Yeah, man. We back. Yeah, sorry about that, y'all. We just had a it's what it is like what Dre was saying. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying, the system will get taxed and overworked. So sometimes it'll just be what it is. Yo, Adam said, where's Adam at? I wanted to Adam was like, yo, did you just say we weren't gonna win game 2?
Adam caught the last little bit of what you were talking about, probably.
Yeah, 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 man. So shout out to the chat, man, and being patient
Salute
with me.
DSJ.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I I kind of lost like my train of thought on it since we had so much. But man, I ain't even gonna lie to you, man. I think asking Cleveland to hold RJ quickly and Grimes to 30 points or less again. I don't see them. I just can't see them doing that.
It, I don't. Yeah, I don't see that either. And if we hold the thing that kind of surprised me, Freezy, they had a short leash for Karis LeVert.
Yep.
And like over the last 20 games, Karis LeVert has been averaging 16, 4, and 4. Before coming into the regular season, granted, the playoffs are a different animal, and he might not be able to guard any arrangement that we put out there. But it's one of those things where it might change on a game to game basis based on who gets hot. Like, cause like for instance, if Isaac Okoro hits a three or a couple threes in the first half, they're probably gonna ride him till the wheels fall off.
So the wheels fall off, bro.
Which is fine because he's legitimately he's the only person on that team that can semi guard Jalen Brunson.
Right. Right. But when he's yeah, he can guard everybody, bro. He can guard Brunson. He can guard RJ. He can guard Hart. He might, in certain stretches, be able to guard Randall. Maybe, possibly. I'm not saying shut Randall down.
But be a body to just,
Right.
some resistance.
Right.
He's the thing about it's funny because when I look up like Okoro's box score, it's funny. He's basically Frank Ntilikina.
Basically, he's Frank. Basically, with the three ball, because it says January, he's been shooting the three pretty good.
Yeah, he ain't looked like it in these players though.
And Adam said send the link, bro. Adam, we just told you in the other joint that the link was in the private chat. Yo, yeah, man. Yo, which y'all get y'all link from, bro?
The private chat. I believe the chat of the private.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. The Frank Ntilikina thing I think is fair, except you know what I'm saying. I would say that Isaac Okoro, and I'm just gonna look up Isaac Okoro stuff just briefly.
Wow. You honestly linking Isaac Okoro and Frank together? That's interesting.
I'm sorry, say that one more time, Lee.
I said you're comparing those two together.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow.
he's averaged 8 points over his first 3 years.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
Frank was like a 1/2 kind of, and then we
Yeah.
moved him to make him a 2/3. That's what
Yeah.
Okoro is.
Yeah.
Okoro's more a three because of their roster composition. He's really a two.
He's really a two. Right. He's really a two. And Lee, the reason why Isaac Okoro doesn't score a lot is because he just doesn't shoot. He's like
Nah,
Quentin Grimes. He's taken less than 5 shots a game.
But his skill set is
wow.
limited, so I won't say he's like Quentin Grimes because we've seen Quentin Grimes put the ball on the floor and have a move. Okoro doesn't have a move. He's
Okay.
either all the way to the rim or taking a spot up corner 3-point shot.
Right.
He doesn't put the ball on the ground or create for anyone else like a dump down or anything like that. He doesn't do that.
Right. Right.
And,
And
and he was like, I'm sorry. Go ahead, please. My bad.
no, he was a top 5 pick.
That's exactly what I was about to ask.
Yeah.
Speaking of top
Wow.
5 picks, I saw a tweet tonight and it said Alex Len is the most valuable top 5 pick from the 2013 draft as of today.
Alex Len.
Yeah, because he's actually playing against the Warriors. He's playing good minutes against the Warriors for the Kings right now.
Alex Len. No, it makes me think about the other 4 guys drafted with him.
Well, Anthony
Hmm.
Bennett was number one.
And that's the Michael K. Gilchrist draft, right?
No. What Michael K. Gilchrist went number one. Anthony Bennett was number one in that draft, I
Yeah,
believe.
Michael K. Gilchrist went number 2.
Wait, I'm thinking about Michael Carter Williams. My bad. I was thinking about MCW, not Michael K. Gilchrist.
Yeah, Michael. Yeah.
And in that draft, and I'll tell you the top 5 from that draft. It was Anthony Bennett, Victor Oladipo, Otto Porter Jr., Cody Zeller.
Wow,
That draft was trash.
that draft was trash, bro.
Wow.
And we knew it was gonna be trash too. I think we knew it was gonna be trash. Because Phoenix drafted a bust out of that draft too. Not Alex Len, but the other guy. I think they drafted somebody at 13, like Georgie something, a Greek center, like a 19-year-old Greek center or something. If my memory is right,
Uh,
and I may
I'll
be
tell
wrong.
you
It
right
might be another
now.
draft.
It might be a different draft because they drafted another person named Neman Nedovic, 30th overall.
Okay, yeah, so it might be another draft.
Yeah, it was a different draft. You think about the other draft, Gorgie Jang, or something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember the name.
No, not him. Not him. They drafted,
Not him.
but it doesn't matter though. It's in the grand scheme of things.
Oh my God, that
That
draft
draft
was
was
trash.
trash. Yeah.
And Michael Carter Williams did go in that draft. He was 11.
Okay. That was the Giannis draft.
Yeah.
Wow. Somebody took Alex Len over Giannis.
Somebody took Ben McLemore over Giannis. So
Oh, wait. And Ben McLemore came rushing out the gate for Sacramento. We thought he was gonna be something.
somebody took Shabazz Muhammad right before Giannis.
Was it that? Was Dante Exum in that draft too?
I think Exum was a little bit later. Yeah, he wasn't in that draft.
Yeah.
He was the draft after that, I believe. And I thought Dante Exum was gonna be nice.
Yeah.
Who didn't?
He was looking like a more explosive Frank, and then the injuries.
And then the injuries. Yeah. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
that draft was garbage.
That draft was garbage.
There's some good veterans that are still playing, like Kelly Olynyk and Steven Adams and Dennis Schroeder. But
Right.
oof,
Right, man. That draft is
Oh
that draft was bonkers, bro.
oh my God.
man.
So I learned a valuable lesson, everybody. So I'm a little slow on the topics. I want to give everybody the opportunity to kind of rediscover us. But I learned a valuable lesson and this is the same thing I had have happened with FreeKeith and GI one morning. like when you have too many people coming in the StreamYard chat, it just overworks.
OBS,
Yeah,
yeah,
it
computer and
overworks the
everything.
system, and then next thing you know, stuff going crazy. So
Right.
yeah,
So you got to limit it to like 3 or 4 people
yeah,
when you do
probably
both.
three, probably three. Yeah, yeah, some basketball minds. So yeah,
And then when you open the floor, then you can just strip it down to StreamYard.
yeah, 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 man, yeah, man. Um, how do y'all feel about the contenders in the Eastern Conference? Like how worrisome does the Eastern Conference look to you if you're a Knicks fan today?
I
Do you feel
it,
like there
it
are some beasts out there?
I feel like this is how I can put it, Freezy. There are beasts, but we have the potential to also be a beast, or we're on the cusp of that.
So we
So
have
it's
a
like it. So it's like one of those things where you can fear other teams, but we have certain things that put fear in other teams.
right,
So like when you look at the Boston Celtics, you can look at their like overall explosiveness and like the ability to barrage you from three, and the isolation threats that are Jalen Brown and Tatum. Or you can look at the straight brute force that the Sixers can play with, running their offense through the most efficient pick and roll tandem in the NBA.
right,
Or you can look at the Bucks where Giannis is Giannis, and for that he can win a series by himself. So it's
okay,
like, but when we look at our strengths, it's like you're never going to out rebound us, even if you try your hardest and play your biggest lineups.
right. So
You're
you're
never
saying
going.
so other teams have to pick their battles against the Knicks?
Yes,
Okay,
and
okay,
you have to at some point you have to. It's gonna be a battle of wits after a certain point because we all know each other's identities.
right,
It's gonna be what you can live with and what you can't live without.
right,
And we
right,
put teams in a position where they have to live with us out rebounding them. They
yep,
have no choice. There's nothing you can do about it.
right. So um their options are limited to um shoot the three against us, get out in transition,
Mhm.
right? Things of that sort,
And not turn the ball over.
and not turn the and not turn the ball over is another. I wanted to get to that
Mhm.
also put the ball on the floor and try to get foul calls at the rim because what happens is if you try to play the Knicks game, if
It's
you try
no,
to
it's
play
not
the
gonna
Knicks,
work for you.
yeah,
You
yeah,
might win a game here and there, but like over a 7 game series, you trying to play like the Knicks without the Knicks horses,
yeah.
it's not gonna work for you.
And not saying that we have the greatest horses, just saying that we're good at what we do.
We have horses that do what they do and only focus in on those particular things. It's more efficient that way.
Right, right,
Instead
right,
of guys masquerading, trying to do 2 or 3 different jobs,
right,
we get the plumber that's just wanting to be a plumber and not a handyman
right.
and not an electrician
Not an electrician, not an
and not a
architect.
mechanic.
Right, right.
He's just gonna be a plumber. He's gonna be a damn good plumber.
Not home decor. You know what I'm
No.
saying? None of that. None of that. You know what I'm saying? He's not putting shingles on the roof. None of that.
So it's like one of those things like we have guys that are specialized in particular things and we just utilize their specialty. We don't try to pigeonhole them to do things that we don't know they can do.
Right, right,
We're not stretching guys thin
right,
away from their skill sets.
right,
Tim's just like, yo, Mitch, I know you want to put the ball on the floor and score, but I want you to put 90% of your effort in just rebounding, bro. Just do that.
and boxing out. Yeah,
Just do that.
yeah,
I don't care if you're already number one in box outs. I
right,
want you to be 2 times better than whoever's at number two.
right, right,
Same thing he told Hartenstein. which is why we never really saw a lot of the passing out of him that we thought we would see.
Right. Right. And then here we are. And here
Yeah.
we are.
Here we are slowly molding an identity and adding onto our base traits slowly.
Exactly.
Right.
And we might go against teams that have guys like for instance, Karis LeVert can do a whole lot of things,
Yep.
right? On the
Yep.
on the basketball court.
Right.
But he can just completely disappear and do none of those things all
And
at the same time.
and that's the difference between a superstar and a six man.
Right.
Right there. Because quickly looks amazing at times. But can he do it every rep in every game through an 82 game schedule? And if you think if he can't, then he's a six man.
He can't do that, at least not yet. No.
No, not every time. But neither could Jalen Brunson at
Exactly.
2.5 years in the league, 3 years
Right.
in the league.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So
It's we're not going against a whole bunch of fully fleshed out, well-rounded teams.
right.
We're going against teams that have strengths and weaknesses.
And weaknesses. Yeah.
Now it's up to how your strengths and weaknesses match up with them and how you can exploit their weaknesses.
Right.
So when I put it this way, it's like, yeah, you can. It's okay if you have a fear of a specific team, but they also know what they're getting into when they see the Knicks,
Right.
and we pose specific threats to them
Right.
that will never dissipate or disappear.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So it's like it's like I'm cautiously optimistic about it, even though I'm like I don't want to be completely gung ho about it because I do feel like in the back of my mind, I think we're a player away from really being a real contender,
What type of
or
player? What type of player?
or
For
well,
real.
before I answer that, or we're just a little bit more. We just need a little bit more seasoning before we get to that point.
Okay.
Like it's kind of like
I think it's the same. I think it's the same answer.
yeah,
I think it basically what you're alluding to is the same answer. Basically, we're a player away, but we may have that player on the roster if they get right.
if one of them pops, if
Yeah.
one of these guys pops,
Right.
legitimately, one of these guys between RJ Grimes and IQ pops in a major way, then yeah, we'll be entertaining Eastern Conference Finals
Um, I'm here to
often.
tell you that it's Grimes, but it's not Grimes right now. It's
Grimes in
Grimes.
2 years.
It's Grimes next year, towards the end of next year.
Mhm.
When you look at the national, I have a spreadsheet right where I tracked all these guys. Where I tracked Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. I have the spread because people used to absolutely kill RJ Barrett, right? And so I put up RJ Barrett's numbers against Kobe Bryant, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, all these guys, right? And what happened is RJ Barrett is on the same path as SGA, as Anthony Edwards. But what happens is their ugly games are hidden in either in Los Angeles behind Chris Paul or in Oklahoma City or in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Mm.
RJ Barrett's ugly games happen in New York City, right? And so what happens is when the slightest little thing RJ does is under the microscope. And while I'm not saying RJ Barrett will be SGA or RJ Barrett will be Paul George or will be Jalen Brown, when they had their clunkers, they were insulated. RJ Barrett, he doesn't have insulation, right? Because there is no star for RJ. Well, now RJ Barrett and Quentin Grimes could be insulated. But prior to this, RJ Barrett couldn't be insulated and protected. Where if Anthony Edwards had a bad game, he still was on the roster with another number one pick. that could take all the blame. You know what I mean? Whereas Devin Booker was in Phoenix, Arizona. You know what I'm saying? Just running all over the floor, looking crazy.
Getting cardio, man.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with a cat named Paolo Banchero in Orlando. Man, that dude is has the lowest basketball IQ, and
He's allowed to work his kinks out.
his basketball IQ is terrible.
He feels like he can take anyone off the dribble at any point and get to the rim and dunk on anyone at any time.
And guys are wide open for shots.
And
Like he single handedly lost the Orlando Magic the Atlanta Hawks game.
oh, that foul, right? Oh,
Yes.
yeah. I remember.
No. Think about Think about the sequence. Two bad shots. Atlanta knew he was going to shoot. Right, a mid range. Are you going to shoot a fadeaway mid range?
That's the only thing I kind of don't like about his game, which you probably work out, and it's something that Tatum kind of fell victim to in his earlier years, settling for like fadeaway mid range shots when you're 6'9" and bigger than your defender, and you can draw fouls at the rim.
Right. Right.
And Tatum kind of falls victim to that still a little bit, but a lot less now.
Right. Right.
I think, but he's gonna be fine though. It's just he's
It,
allowed to work out as a kinks when you're in areas that don't have a high expectations
right. Right.
or pressure. It's like ain't nobody worried about Orlando, man. Not
Not
even
now.
Orlando fans.
Not now. Not now. Right. Right. But but what I'm saying is he is in a place where you don't see all of his bad plays. You see his great highlight plays because people like to see highlights. They don't like to watch lowlights. You know what I'm saying? And so so the thing about RJ is when you do that in New York City, everything RJ does is under the microscope, bro. Right? Just like when people were saying no handle Randall and they was bashing Julius Randall and Julius Randall's
Spinaroonie.
and Julius Randall's numbers were comparable to Chris Webber. Julius Randall and Chris Webber had the same or had similar numbers, right? And Chris Webber averaged more turnovers than Randall, right? But since Chris Webber did it in Sacramento and Oakland, California, and other places
There-
outside of New York, it looks different.
And got it. This is also a thing. Like there's aesthetic bias.
Yeah,
Teams or the average fan would rather watch Jordan Poole play, even though half the time Jordan Poole looks absolutely terrible,
yes,
and then the other half he looks amazing
right,
because he's doing all these dipsy doos and behind the back moves and step backs and side steps and
right,
like up and under moves. But then the other half of his games when it doesn't work, it looks like a train wreck, and then the Warriors have to bench him,
right,
save him from himself.
right. But they need that because what Golden State's doing, and I don't know if people notice it or not, but what they're doing is taking the shell of Klay Thompson and piecemealing it together with Jordan Poole to get prime Klay, right? They're piecemealing it, right?
Well, I want to say I feel like they're trying to merge some Steph stuff in there because Clay never did the off the dribble stuff that Poole does.
Right.
Because Poole has a lot of creativity, which is kind of lends itself directly from Steph's game, but he doesn't have anywhere near Steph's consistency.
Yeah. Because Poole's a combo guard. He's not Klay, he's not Steph. Right? He's a combo guard. It is what it is. He's a two that can play make a little bit, right? But he's fortunate to be in that situation. Whereas, if Tyrese Maxey is in that role in Golden State, Tyrese Maxey is a megastar in my mind. Now I may be wrong. If Emmanuel quickly
Oh,
is in that role in Golden State, If Emmanuel could think about this, if Emmanuel quickly is in that role in Golden State
as a two-way player.
as right, you read my mind, bro. You read my mind. If Emmanuel quickly is there playing off of Steph and Clay, and then on the defensive end, he's picking up the other team's best guard so that Draymond Green can do Draymond Green stuff defensively. And with Andrew Wiggins, bro, listen, we're having a different conversation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I like Jordan Poole. I like Jordan Poole, and I think Jordan Poole is a very good player. What I'm saying though is it's not like when they created Jordan Poole, they broke the mold.
No, the mold is right there.
Yeah,
The pamphlet with the instructions is right there.
all of that, right? Yeah, that's
The original.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying, man. Is because what happens is sometimes we get so down on Emmanuel quickly that when we look around the league and see other guys that are similar, not the same, but similar to Emmanuel quickly, like a undersized combo guard off the bench. Like for instance, Emmanuel quickly and Bones should not even be in the same conversation.
Not even close.
Right?
Mm.
But they are in the same conversation.
Not even close.
That dude is half the player quickly is, right? But he's in the conversation. I heard
Because they look alike.
right. I heard Kevin Garnett say it. Kevin Garnett said he like Bones and quickly they play similar.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Maybe Bones still plays like Quickly did as a rookie, and
Right.
Bones is in his second year still. Like
Right.
Quickly got a lot of his bad habits erased out of him in his second year.
Yeah.
You still take the odd heat check, but it's not nearly as frequent as it used to be.
Okay. Yeah, he took a heat check. He took a heat check in game 1, and Tibbs sat him immediately.
Right.
And Josh Hart came out, and ran the offense for like 2 minutes, and I think it was a warning shot, not only to RJ, not only to Grimes, but to everybody. Yes, like these games matter. Like these possessions matter.
Every possession matters, which is why we go so gung ho for rebounds.
Right. Sherwin says we homers IQ still takes a lot of it. Yeah, I'm not disputing that.
You got to take into account some of these bad shots are kind of normal in this current landscape of the NBA.
Right.
The egregious shots are the ones that he takes that are 30 feet.
Right.
When he hasn't even gotten going. Those are the egregious ones.
And in transition and with no rebounding at the other end.
Exactly.
Yeah, you like, why would you even consider taking that shot?
But when you watch Jordan Poole play, he takes about 4 or 5 of those a game.
Yeah. But he watches Steph Curry take about 4 or 5 of those a game.
But he thinks he can do that. But that's Steph Curry.
That's the thing I was going. That's the thing
you
I
know,
was looking at.
You know, this conversation reminded me of when we had John Starks, and John Starks would go up there and do that heat check. And you were like, no, okay. And you come back on the court and do the same thing. No, okay.
Right.
You know, this is one of the things.
But it's like with John Starks, that Knicks team needed that type of explosiveness because they couldn't get it out of anyone outside of Patrick.
Right.
Which is unfortunate because Patrick deserved a better running mate than John Starks. Even though John Starks was good at what he did, made a couple All-Star games at that.
Right.
But maybe because Pat didn't necessarily want a better running mate, but he deserved a better running mate than
that. And two, you have to consider consider what John Starks is. Right? A 5-year college player that went undrafted. Right? Cut by the San Antonio Spurs I'm sorry, cut by the Golden State Warriors, cut by the Spurs, goes back to Golden State, and is cut or his contract is not renewed. Right? When we get John Starks is about 25, 24, 25.
And hungry.
A journeyman cat, right? That was on the scrap heap, right? That comes in and elevates his game and develops as a Knick to the point that he's an all-time Knick. Right? Now think about this. Trevor Keels is a second round pick, right? Think about a dude that is half as good as Trevor Keels. Right? Think about a dude that's half as good as Trevor Keels, comes to training camp, makes the team. He winds up becoming an all-star with the Knicks and helping the Knicks get to an NBA Finals. Right? When you take all those things into account, you look at John Starks differently. Right? Right. The thing about Starks is if Starks was a first round pick, I think the first round pick narrative would be fair.
Would be
if
like
Starks
he was just
drafted,
okay, because he overachieved so at so many points. It's
you got the maximum. You got the maximum juice from the squeeze that you took on him.
But that's the problem. Like when I say he deserved better, the Knicks shouldn't have been relying on an undrafted guy to go at Patrick, their number one overall franchise player for the last 13 years.
Right. Right.
It should have. Well, when John Starks got there, I think Pat was in his 8th year or 9th year, something like that, somewhere around there.
No. When Starks got there, he was in his 5th year.
Was it his 5th?
Pat was like 27 when Starks got there. Right.
But then when did Starks become Starks?
But let me say this. The reason why Rod Strickland, a first round pick, was traded. The reason why
John
Mark
Starks
Jackson
was busting his ass in practice.
Yeah, and the all out the stuff that you see with Josh Hart from Josh Hart, like you just like what Josh Hart does is like a third of what Starks did on a nightly basis. Right. Just imagine if Josh Hart and Emmanuel Quickly together. That was John Starks. Right. And I'm not overhyping him because everybody know that John Starks was a energetic guy off the bench at first. Everybody knows, and everybody knows that his shot IQ, like Emmanuel Quickly, was sometimes something left to be desired. Everybody knows about Emmanuel Quickly and John Starks' defense at 6'3". You know what I'm saying? Imagine if Emmanuel Quickly had to guard
Michael Jordan. Reggie Miller.
Yeah.
Grant Hill.
Yeah. 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 So that's all I'm saying about Eddie C. What's good, bro? That's all I'm saying about the John Starks thing, man. The John Starks thing, it's not as
cut it dry.
Yeah. You gotta have a vibe. You gotta kind of like have lived in that moment to understand like why John Starks was so important. Because like for somebody on the outside,
then why didn't they get like a third guy at least then?
Because third guys don't know. Man, they got third guys all the time. They just don't know. They just didn't know how to play with Pat.
Damn.
Right? They just didn't know how to play with. I mean, because think about it. Why didn't Houston go get a third guy for Olajuwon? By the time Clyde Drexler got there in their second championship run, that was the same Clyde Drexler.
He was old man.
Yeah, he was an old man. By the time they got Barkley,
Barkley
was washed. Yeah, they were even in different uniforms.
Barkley had a belly when he was playing at that point.
Yeah. When they won their first championship, because Olajuwon went to the finals with Ralph Sampson in '86, and they got steamrolled by the Celtics. Right?
Sure did.
Olajuwon lost to the Celtics in 1986. Right? And nobody remembers anybody off that team except maybe Craig Elo. He left Houston that year, and then 2 years later, He is he's the second most famous person in a Gatorade commercial.
I want to be like Mike.
You remember that? You remember that? The shot over Elo is
And then he's
good.
the fist pumping. And
Yeah.
Elo falling to the ground like he had just gotten shot by a
He's like,
sniper.
he got sniped. Yeah. And there's no harm. There's no harm in that. Like being the second most famous commercial person in a commercial that's going to get played a bajillion times. You said my last name. The shot on Elo is good. You know what I'm saying? You're the second most famous person in that commercial. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But the point that I'm getting at about Starks and about Josh Hart is if you're on the outside looking in, when you look at Josh Hart numbers, you like what is all this hype about? Right? You look at Josh Hart numbers, you like Josh Hart. The Knicks fans, I hit pounding the table for Josh Hart done played for 5 teams or 4 teams or whatever the number is. Right?
But it's things that don't show up on the box score.
It's context. Yeah.
They're trying to create a stat like 50-50 balls and hustle stats, which he's at the top of, but it's not an official stat that you always see.
Yeah.
The best thing you could even measure him with is plus minus because the team just ultimately plays better when he's on the floor.
Right.
And plus minus is a finicky stat.
Yeah. And then plus 2, if you look at Josh Hart's contribution after leaving Portland, right? So Josh Hart after leaving Portland, right? Or it's weird because when he left New Orleans in that CJ McCollum trade, he was averaging about 13 and a half, right?
Shooting well from 3, I believe, too.
Yeah, Josh Hart in his last few games with Portland being the number 1 guy. You remember they sat him at the end of the season, they were tanking, and they sat him when Josh Hart was averaging 20 points a game on 50% shooting, 37 from 3. Josh Hart was their leading scorer. He was balling, and then they sat him with the ghost injury. Remember he said that, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm hurt. I might not be able." He's like, "I might not be able to play for the rest of the season." You know what I'm saying? So
of course they get rewarded with Zion.
Yeah,
I think was it Zion at the time?
No.
It was after.
They got Shaden Sharp.
You're talking about this year.
Yeah. Last season. He was averaging 19 points a game.
Right.
And then
they tanked back-to-back years.
And then this year with them, he was shooting 50% from the floor, right? Averaging about 9 points a game. He come to the Knicks, bro. He is putting up power forward numbers. The dude's averaging, I think he was shooting 59% from the floor and 52% from 3.
It's funny because if you look at his basketball reference page, apparently one of his nicknames is Josh Barkley.
Hilarious, right? Hilarious.
So he's always played like this.
Right.
At every level. He just played bigger than his size would indicate.
Right. And I've always liked him too, bro. By the way, I always felt like that Lakers team that they were putting together with LaMelo, and so it was LaMelo,
Lonzo.
Oh, Lonzo. I'm sorry.
Right.
You're correct. Lonzo, D'Angelo Russell.
They got rid of D'Angelo Russell when Lonzo got there.
Yeah.
But it was like Jordan Clarkson, I believe Kuzma. Was Kuzma? No, Kuzma came in the same draft as Lonzo, I believe. It was Brandon Ingram, D'Lo, Jordan Clarkson, Zubac,
Larry Nance,
Josh Hart.
And did you say Brandon Ingram?
Yeah, Brandon Ingram was there.
Okay. There was another guy, a small forward. I can't remember. Maybe it was Kuzma. Okay, let's just say
I think Kuzma came in the same draft as Lonzo.
Right.
They had him drafted late, like 27 or something. And Lonzo was 2, of course.
Right. If they would have kept that team together, that team, bro.
It's a lot of NBA talent on that team.
Yeah.
But at some point, you can't pay 7 guys $17 million.
No.
At that point, it's not feasible because all those guys are like 17 to $20 million type guys when they ultimately figure it out, right?
Right. Right.
But you can't pay that many people that much money in that area. Like just the way the cap is set up, you need to pay like 2 guys a lot of money. The way they
Right.
want you to set it up is you pay 2 guys a lot of money, then you fill it out with decent sized contracts.
Right. Right. No doubt.
And Brandon Ingram is, of course, the max player out of that scenario or situation.
Man, they could have kept D'Angelo. Oh my God. That team, man. That team could have been, oh my goodness. That team could have been so special. And they had Rondo, by the way. Rondo was like their captain.
Their vet.
Yep. 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 So.
But yeah, as Lakers all day dope in the chat says, LeBron didn't want them. And truth be told, the Lakers were actually the perfect situation for LeBron anyway, because they're always going to get the star.
Yeah.
They're always going to get the beneficiary, like the better parts of trades.
Right.
And if you look at their history, they always do well drafting late first rounders or undrafted guys.
Right.
So it's like you're not going to get high picks, so we're going to scour and get a good guy in the late part of the draft or an undrafted guy like Reeves, Kuzma, or is an example.
And Julius Randle, by the way. Julius Randle started on that path. So they started with Randle and D'Angelo Russell and Kobe.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah.
And when you think about these things, it's like these advantages don't exist anywhere else in the league but for the Lakers. We're trying to start that type of wave where our late first round picks hit. We try to target decent undrafted guys. We're trying to get manageable contracts, but we're not in the area of where we get lucky to get the superstar. At least not yet. We're getting the better parts of we're getting the better ends of trades though.
That's because we're scouting a lot better,
right,
than we ever did before.
And that's partly due to the guy that we brought from the Jazz. His name eludes me right now, but he's a damn good scout or a good
Walt
recognition
Perrin.
of talent.
Yeah, that's
not yeah, Walt Perrin. Yep.
Yeah, that's something.
Because it's rare that like a team hits on 2 guys back to back years, 25th overall in the draft.
Right.
You know who we drafted 24th or 25th? Tim Hardaway Jr. I'm saying we drafted.
Oh, okay.
Tim Hardaway Jr.
Right.
Or Walt Perrin around that time drafted Rudy Gobert.
Right. Right. But what I was gonna say or what I want to mention in that scenario when we drafted Tim Hardaway Jr., a lot of people were comparing him to Allen Houston out of college. I'm talking about out of college now. I'm not talking about
because I'm thinking about that the NCAA run with him and Trey Burke.
Yep.
But it
Trey
didn't
Burke.
really. It panned out for him later on, but he had to go to like boot camp to figure out his game. Tim Hardaway.
He was drafted by the wrong team.
Yeah,
that's that.
If he would have went to like the Spurs immediately,
right,
they would have rehabilitated him.
If he had
or broken his bad habits.
Tim Hardaway Jr. in my mind would have been a great fit, and I'm talking about for the time. He'd have been a great fit for the Milwaukee Bucks at that time. Right,
the transition period away from Jabari Parker.
Right, that in that time where Milwaukee was only interested in developing their young players.
Right.
They didn't care nothing about the result, in-game result. They were like running plays. If y'all Lee, if you remember, they had Giannis running point guard, right, as a point forward, right. Giannis was just. I think it was a year Giannis had put on like 10 pounds, and he was so proud of that 10 pounds that he put on. He was flexing after everything, right. The
Mm-hmm.
legit Giannis was like 190, like 6'9", 190, flexing. I'm like, bro, you 190. You 6'9", 190. I mean, in every bit of 6'9". I'm talking about like 6'9" and some change and 190 pounds. But he was 6'9", 175 or 180. And he put that 10 pounds on over the summer from the weight room and conditioning and all that stuff. And then on the other side, Chris Middleton was shaving off the baby weight. You know what I'm saying? They're shaving off those I get free meals in the athletic cafeteria pounds. You know what I'm saying? Chris
Like
Middleton.
the free square pizzas.
Yeah. Chris Middleton.
The
They
beef
say,
patties.
yeah, they said Chris Middleton was 234. You know, good and well, Chris Middleton wasn't no 234. Chris Middleton was every bit of 245. You can see it up under his chin. You know what I'm saying? And so Hardaway going to a situation like that, to me, I felt like would have been ideal. Ultimately, though, when you get it back, to Sherman said Allen Houston was dunking on the world in college with a pure jump shot. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I'm not disparaging Allen Houston, bro. But what I'm saying is getting back to the Knicks
I want.
is
Oh,
in that thing that Dre said, that point that Dre made. Dre said the Knicks may be one player away, and maybe it's a guy on the roster. That's the way you phrased it, right?
yeah.
I think that guy is gonna be Grimes, and I'm not saying that Grimes has a higher ceiling than Quickly or RJ, but I think he may be more impactful on a season, right? I think he'll be more like how Klay Thompson's 22, 23 a game, and his prime just hit different.
Yeah.
Right.
It felt like 30.
Yeah. And that game, you remember the game in Chicago where he couldn't miss? Where
Yeah,
the dude scored like
the
60
record.
points?
Yeah, the record for threes, like 14 on like 11 dribbles or something silly.
Yeah. I think that's what we can. I'm not calling him Klay Thompson, but what I'm saying is I think ultimately he may be in that Kawhi Leonard impact type.
I didn't want to completely detract, but I wanted to pick your brain about something. Why didn't Allen Houston on the Pistons with Grant Hill work?
Coaching and direction.
Because I was reading something where they were forcing Joe Dumars, like Joe Dumars didn't want to retire or something, and they just kept playing him anyway over like Allen Houston or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah, and it wasn't just him; it was also Lindsey Hunter.
Oh,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of it's like the point that I was making with Adam about Golden State. Like some dynasties die hard, bro. Like remember, Allen Houston gets drafted a year after Isaiah Thomas tears his Achilles.
so they still have playoffs in their mind.
Dudes, they have
making long
dudes
runs.
around the organization. You know what I'm saying?
And in that iteration of the NBA, quick turnover wasn't a thing. Like
Right.
turnover took 3-4 years because dudes was just trying to stay in the league as long as possible.
Yeah. And then
it wasn't as cutthroat in terms of just getting rid of guys.
And then Joe Dumars was an excellent vet. You feel me? Like Joe Dumars was drafted in 85, 86. So when you're talking about Joe Dumars in 93, 94, he was only like 31.
But he was also injured. Like he was on a decline, a rapid decline.
Yeah, and he was an excellent defender.
Yep.
And he was an excellent leader. He had a high basketball IQ.
What was he? A two-way combo guard. That's what he was, right?
Yeah, him and Isaiah Thomas complimented each other. Man. And so if you can keep a Joe Dumars around, I would have kept Joe Dumars around too. I just wouldn't have played him over
Would have made him
Lindsey
a bench
Hunter.
player, but like the optics wouldn't have worked at that time. It would just because he should
Yeah,
have been a bench player at that time. But
yeah,
got some guys do not want to be viewed as a bench player, especially if they're like in their early 30s instead of their late 30s.
especially when the other option is
This young
Lindsey
guy?
Hunter. Huh?
Oh, I was about to say this young guy you brought in here.
Yeah, nah, he no, no. Lee, you know who their coach was, right?
I don't think I do.
My man used to coach Chicago.
Nah, the dude that used to that bum that used to coach the Knicks, Don Chaney. Don
Wow.
Chaney, bro.
Oh man,
That stuff speak for itself, man.
man, Don Chaney
Wow.
and all that damn hair dye,
Yeah, yeah.
fake ass
I could have
Martin.
sworn it
Yeah,
was Doug
Martin.
Christie.
Who?
I'm not Doug Christie. What's his name? Doug. Who coached
Is that
Chicago?
Doug Collins?
No, not Doug
Doug
Collins.
Collins. That's what
Yeah,
I
that's
meant.
what you're talking about. But Doug Collins, I think, was coaching the Sixers, maybe. Maybe not. I can't remember.
He was on the coaching carousel in the 80s and 90s. He was just
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah. Joe Dumars was a 8-year vet when Allen Houston got drafted. So Joe Dumars was probably 30.
Mm. Yeah, because you have to assume back then dude stayed in college for multiple years.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Bill Laimbeer was on that roster when Allen Houston was there.
still,
Yeah, yeah.
That
So
deserves a wow.
yeah,
Knicks got lucky getting him in free agency then,
yeah. Isaiah Thomas was still on that roster. He didn't play. I
but he
don't think
was.
Isaiah Thomas played the entire year, but he was there. I want to look at. I'm looking for the stats now to see if Isaiah played. I don't think I remember Isaiah Thomas
Sherwin
even play.
said Chuck Daly was Houston's rookie coach.
Let's see. Yeah, Isaiah Thomas played 56 games that season.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't gonna like he wasn't gonna get any burn that then. And then
Mm.
sometimes back then when dudes get like big injuries, they'll try to come back just to see if they can do it, not necessarily to perform at a high level. They just want to come back and play.
Oh, wait, just real quick. No, Sherwin. Chuck Daly, no. Chuck Daly was not there. Chuck Daly had took over the New Jersey Nets. Chuck Daly is the dude that played Mookie Blaylock over Kenny Anderson.
That is a choice.
Yep. Chuck Daly was the coach of New Jersey when they were wearing those acid wash uniforms. And it
What?
was and their lineup, their starting lineup, bro. When you think back to history, bro, when you see a lineup of Mookie Blaylock, Drazen Petrovic, Chris Morris, Derek Coleman, and Sam Bowie, that team wasn't as bad as it sounds. But Chuck Daly and I think they traded for eventually they traded for Terry Mills. They had Benoit Benjamin as a backup,
Wasn't
and
Terry Mills a Nick for like a split second?
I think so. He looked like George Foreman too.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say,
And Jason Wayne.
my dad
Yep.
said Kenny Anderson was the best point guard he ever seen with his own two eyes in person.
Yep, no doubt. No doubt.
It was like there was nothing
Real
he
point guard.
couldn't do,
But he
and
was
he made he made
damn-
it look easy. He made everything look easy.
he was the better version of Rod Strickland in my mind. In my mind,
Mhm.
I think he was the better version of Rod Strickland. He got to places easier. He understood the game to understand the game better. I think Kenny Anderson probably was a better scorer. Or was probably a better scorer, but um yeah, that was a point guard era.
I remember someone older than me told me like Kenny Anderson was like a better at everything version of D'Lo. Like he was a better at everything version of D'Lo. That's what he said to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, but he was basing that off of what D'Lo looked like in his younger years, his amateur years, or his amateur years, because D'Lo was pretty dominant in Ohio. He
Right.
just had a particular feel for the game. Now, when he got to the league, it wasn't exactly the same, but he was still pretty good.
Yeah,
But Kenny Anderson,
Sherwin said that Chuck Daly. I promise you, Chuck Daly coached the Dream Team and left and coached the Nets, bro. Chuck Daly coached the Dream Team in '92 and took over the Nets right after that. I promise you, bro. Check it out. Hey, go check it out for yourself.
Do the knowledge.
Do the knowledge. Helter Skelter. Do the knowledge. Yeah, man.
but Kenny Anderson was always grown. I mean, he was like a child prodigy. I remember watching him. I remember seeing a little picture of him, a younger version of him, in Sports Illustrated. Like, the who's who and the what's what. Remember how Sports Illustrated used to have that, like, towards the back or in the middle?
And if you were a prospect getting found out back then, you were doing something.
Right.
On a grand scale. Because nowadays, any prospect could be anywhere. There's dozens of them floating around just getting articles written about them because scouting is just at an all-time high.
Yeah.
But back then, if you're like on parade or something, you were really doing something.
Coach Malpica was on the cover of Parade magazine.
Right.
What?
Right. Yeah. Oh, wow! I forgot about Coach.
Yeah.
I wonder how he's doing.
I hadn't heard from him in a while. He had some stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
He had to take some time to
tend to
blase blah. Yeah. But yeah, man, he was on
the straight.
Yeah, I think Coach was a top 5 running back in the country.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Coach had I think Coach had a scholarship to the University of Florida. I think they were bringing him in to replace Eric Rhett and Emmitt Smith, and then he tore his knee ligaments.
Damn.
Wow.
He would have been running behind the good line too. He would have got the numbers.
Yeah, he'd have got them. Yeah.
That was back then when the powerhouses were really powerhouses.
Right. Yeah, man. Yeah. Let me ask this though, just to get back on the Knicks stuff. The one player that you feel like we need, what type of player is it? Is it a prototype that you're talking about, or are you just saying the Knicks just need somebody to step up?
I don't think it necessarily has to be a prototype or a perfect player or like a 6'8" guy. Like you mentioned, Grimes. If Grimes takes a step in terms of just being a scorer, playmaker, like if he ever becomes like a hyper efficient 20-point guy, like if he wakes up and starts to play or put up similar numbers as like Mikal Bridges, but on a lower scale, like 21 points a game instead of the 27 Mikal's putting up.
Right.
Because if Mikal was here, he wouldn't put up 27 because there's only one basketball.
Because we wouldn't need him to. Yeah.
So he would probably put up 21 on 50, 40, 90.
Is he a franchise player?
Mikal?
Yeah.
No. Well, it depends on your definition of franchise player. Because if you're expecting him to lead, like a franchise player in my mind is someone that can lead a team to the playoffs without another like star of his level on the team.
I'm gonna say this, and I know it's gonna spark another debate. I don't want to have the SGA debate, right? Because I know I'll lose it. I know I'll lose the SGA debate, right? But I think Mikal Bridges is better than Kawhi Leonard.
Nah, I can't. I saw what Kawhi did last night with my own 2 eyes, man. He outscored Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant in one half by himself.
Right. And I think Mikal Bridges is better.
Nah, I can't do that. I can't do it just yet.
What?
I can't do it just yet.
What do you need to see?
I can't do that, Freezie.
Y'all hold players in such high esteem, Dre.
Hey.
This
I don't hold Kawhi that high.
there's levels, and if Michael Bridges, okay, like maybe Kawhi isn't who he was in 2019. He's
okay.
removed from that, but he's still at a very high level. That when it's playoff time and he musters up the energy to be a high usage player, he puts up some ridiculous numbers on high efficiency. Like it's kind of mind blowing, but things that he does in terms of like just efficiency on the court, like not even efficiency in terms of his shooting splits.
Okay.
Like his whole game is so mechanical and fine and down to the to the millimeter in terms of just how he plays and how he gets to his shots and how he works out the post. I can't do that. I can't do it freely. Can't say that. His ceiling is just so high in the playoffs, but that's the playoffs.
Okay. That's the playoffs, right? All right. Allow me to present Exhibit A. This
So
is
just funny. Let
Exhibit
me
A.
pull it up.
All right. I'm putting a link I'm putting a link in the private chat.
Okay, I can see it. What am I looking at? I, I'm seeing numbers that state Kawhi Leonard is washing him. Freezy.
No. You're seeing numbers that say Kawhi Leonard over the course of time took more shots.
Yeah, Michael Bridges is one of the most efficient players in the league on a points per shot basis. Like
East Blue True said, relax. Oh, all
he's
right. So,
he's taking more shots, but
but look at the efficiencies though. Look at
effective
the
field goal. Yeah.
yeah. Look at yeah. Effective field goal percentage. Mikal Bridges is the better player,
But
right?
Mikal Bridges was also like the third or fourth option for the majority of those years. So he's not getting the main brunt of defensive attention.
Right. And so but my point to you is the reason why I think it's even comparable is because so did Kawhi Leonard.
Well, his first three to
First
4 years,
4 years,
yeah.
yeah.
But after that, if you were to, you don't want to compare his fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh year to whatever Michael's doing this year. You don't want to do that, Freezy.
Why not? Because he's
Because
putting up
because
three big
because
numbers.
because he washes. He is.
But the only difference is the only difference is because look at minutes per game, right? Even minutes per game, right? Look at games played,
He's the
right?
Iron Man. Michael Bridges is the
Yeah,
Iron Man.
yeah, yeah. While Kawhi Leonard has what 7 seasons, so while
So are you
Kawhi
including health in terms of what makes someone a better player?
no, I'm saying the availability of Mikal Bridges, him being on the floor makes this closer to the only real thing that I saw that is a gap is rebounding, where Kawhi Leonard averages 2.5 more a game, right? But all the way down to blocks, even blocks are exactly the same.
Freezy. If you put Michael Bridges on the Clippers right now, as currently constituted, are they a title contender?
The Clippers are not tight. No, and the Clippers are not either.
I think they're closer. If they were healthy, I think they're closer than
As
a
a
lot
matter
of
of fact,
a lot of people would want to admit, but they're never healthy. So
and
it is what
so
it is.
when are you putting Mikal Bridges on the team right now,
No,
today, or
when if Paul
at the beginning?
George was healthy, like
No,
at the
no, no,
beginning of
no,
the
no.
year,
Hear me out. Are you saying Paul George and Mikal Bridges out of training camp?
yeah.
Because if you say that, I think this team wins 55 games, and I think this team is probably the number 2 seed in the East with Mikal
But
Bridges.
if they're healthy, but I
Yeah, well, when has Mikal Bridges not been healthy?
I'm saying you're comparing it when healthy, but if we're talking about ceiling for ceiling, Kawhi Leonard puts deathly fear into people, and Michael Bridges is not at that point
And
in
and
my mind.
And so the reason,
Not in a playoff scenario, at least.
and the reason why I put this up on the screen, y'all, is because I think Quentin Grimes is going down this road.
The Mikal Bridges road.
The Mikal Bridges, Kawhi Leonard road, right? Not that I'm not saying that Quentin Grimes is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I think he's going to go down that. Well, not to shortchange him, but if you look up Desmond Bane's numbers, it's almost identical to what Quentin Grimes is in terms of trajectory.
Right,
like,
and
Desmond Bane's like rookie year numbers to Grimes's current numbers, this, that, and the third.
And so I just want to point out one other thing, right? So on this thing, what we're looking at, right? Kawhi Leonard has only played 330 more games, right, than Mikal Bridges out of a potential 590.
But like just to put a little clarity, at Mikal Bridges' current age, Kawhi Leonard was throwing a team on his back to win a title.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't believe
Mikal
can get to that level. And
let me ask, because I understand your point, and we're not going away. I'm not rushing you. Yeah. I just want to, when you state your point, I just want to ask you a question about because you saying like 2 or 3 points at a time, and I just want to do them one at a time.
Right. Okay.
So what you're saying is ultimately Kawhi Leonard, with the backing of Greg Popovich, was putting a team on his back while
I was talking about the Raptors.
Was he with the Raptors?
Yeah, that was his age, 27 year.
Was it?
Yeah.
Mikal Bridges is 27?
Mikal Bridges is not a young buck like that no more. I think he's like 26, 27.
Okay. All right. Oh, okay. Touche. All right. Okay.
Because remember, he went to Villanova for like 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was an upperclassman when he came out, and then it took him halfway through his second contract, which he's on right now, to hit his stride in terms of his identity. And I feel like, you know what I want to say that might be a little bit controversial? I feel like Monty Williams and Chris Paul held back what Mikal Bridges could be.
And DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah.
And DeAndre Ayton. But you know what, though?
Yeah.
But Dre, you can only... Man, listen, at the highest level, you can only develop one guy. I learned this by watching the Chicago Bulls, right? And listen, at the highest level, you can only develop one guy. And Chicago chose to develop Scottie Pippen over Scott Burrell and Horace Grant, right? Because you're trying to win, right? When you're a bad team, you can develop 4 or 5 guys, 3 or 4 guys at a time, right? But in that case with Mikal Bridges there, him and Cam Johnson had to be complementary guys. It's what the Knicks are doing right now. Right?
And you know it's funny, Freezie, when the Suns were having the injuries and they weren't actually thinking they were getting Kevin Durant, when Booker came back, Booker was like, Mikal, I need you to be aggressive. Keep being aggressive.
Yep.
Because we're going to need you to be a 22, 23, 24 point per game guy in order to win a title.
Yeah.
And he's just kept that up on a team that's not as equipped, and he's continued and kept it up. And he's playing at a high level right now, for sure.
Yeah, and no disrespect to Kawhi. I'm not saying that Kawhi is a bad player. I'm not saying Kawhi is overrated, but what I'm saying is if Kawhi Leonard can develop, because Kawhi Leonard was a athletic energy 4 in college.
Yeah, he was a power forward. He couldn't really shoot.
Yeah. And San Antonio developed him by playing him in certain roles. So he was in that Mikal Bridges role on San Antonio.
He just broke out of that a little bit earlier.
Yeah, and some nights he didn't even have to be the primary defender. Some nights the primary defender was Tim Duncan
or Danny Green
or Bruce Bowen.
I don't think he played with Bruce Bowen.
You
Bruce
don't think
Bowen
he
was out
played?
of the picture by then.
Maybe Danny Green. Maybe
It,
Danny
was- it,
Green.
was- it was definitely Danny Green.
Was Steven Jackson there?
Nah, not at the time. No.
Oh, okay.
Remember Steven Jackson had beef with Pop after they let him go.
Yeah. Yeah. He
a
wanted.
while
Where did
ago.
he wind up going? Dallas, Atlanta. He wanted to go into Atlanta, right?
He
Anyway.
went with the Warriors.
No, he went to Charlotte Bobcats.
Charlotte.
Oh,
That's
right.
right. That's right.
Right,
That's
right,
right.
right.
That's right. That's right. But ultimately, what I'm getting at, the reason why I put the Mikal Bridges, Kawhi Leonard, and I wish I could put Paul George in this group too, because Paul George is also in this category of guys coming into an ideal situation, looking to develop 3 years of college, like Grimes, right? Like Grimes, not necessarily needing to be the guy, but
How
be
many years
a
did
guy.
Kawhi play in college?
3.
For real?
Yep.
It was 2.
He was young. He young though. Remember, Kawhi Leonard is young, bro.
Yeah, he must have got out of college at like 20.
Like 20 or 20, yeah, something like that. I think, right? But it may have been 2. I may be incorrect, but
Yeah.
the point that I'm
I
getting
get your
at is these guys came into the situation, and I think you're seeing teams understand this concept, and it's the reason why it would probably be easier for a team to get Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan than Patrick Williams. And I know that sounds crazy, right?
Patrick Williams is like a big piece of clay
Yeah,
right
man.
now. Because the flashes, he looks damn near like Kawhi in his flashes.
Yeah.
But then he just fades out of the picture because
Then he
there's
fades
just high usage guys on the team, and he's not priority number 1.
Right. But when his day comes, bro, it's
funny. He's like Kawhi's long lost brother that never got the proper nurture. Yeah. So.
The difference, the thing that set Kawhi Leonard's game off is he did not his shooting and not his passing, but one summer he came back with handles, and then now all of a sudden you know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden he's not just a spot up guy or nothing, like he can get to his own spots on the floor.
And I want to credit Spurs got the best shooting coach ever.
Yeah.
Which turned him from a non-shooter into a 40% shooter.
Right.
Like an off the dribble 40% shooter. Which is kind of crazy if you think about it. I think his name is Bob England or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. I think Grimes is on his path. This is one of the summertime conversations I want to have. Like about how Grimes is on this path. Like, because I hear a lot of people say the Knicks need a superstar, right? And what I'm gonna say is gonna be controversial, and I know it. But man, listen, the regular season is over, the playoffs are here, right? My belief is that Quickly and Grimes are gonna make us forget about the star search, right? Because while Grimes is about 365 days away, I think Quickly is one good night's sleep away from being a star in the league, right? I think all it takes is for Quickly to understand the moments more, right? Because I think Quickly has a high basketball IQ, but I think Quickly thinks he's a star, so he takes the star level liberties, right? Like Quickly will throw up a heat check in a game, like, hey, bro, this ain't about you, right? Now, conversely, I think
if he makes the shot, it puts a hurting on the morale of the other team. Though. So like it's one of those things. It's super give or take. Well,
right?
Because like remember we were up 10. If you would have made that 3, Cavs would have went spiraling. They would have called timeout. They probably would have went down 20. Just
Yep.
And
Quickly's confidence would have went, because Quickly's confidence is already through the roof, right?
Yeah.
But where would Quickly's confidence have gone if he had made that shot? Beyond your roof, bro.
And that's the thing that kind of makes me excited about Quickly, because once he gets the consistency, because we've seen the flashes of the consistency, but
Right.
once we get it here to stay,
Bonkers. Bonkers, bro. Is it, and so that's the reason why I asked specifically, like when you were making the
right.
point, and Lee understands this. I think I explained this to Lee a lot, maybe on the telephone and not on a live stream. But sometimes you guys like put out like 3 or 4 points, and I'm like, easy, relax, let's do 1 point at a time. And I know it's hard to like when you're on a roll. I know it's hard to like slow down and talk about 1 point at a time because it's a train of thought, and
Yeah.
sometimes you lose your train of thought if you don't put all that stuff out there. But bro, like the point that you made, I think is an excellent point, right? Or like the Knicks need a star, or do they just need seasoning on what they have?
And the
Right,
playoffs could be the requisite seasoning.
the right environment, right? I think
Because once you get to this level of play, it'll expose what you need to work on very
right,
quickly.
Bad.
right. And you know what else too, Dre? The thing that people don't take into account. Andrew Collins, I see you out here with these bars. I see Andrew Collins out here with these bars. But you know what? You know what? The thing that we don't take into account, when the playoffs start, there are no overlapping games. When the playoff starts, you have all the eyes of the league on you. Right? Right? You're not going to see 5 games going on at one time.
Yeah, your flaws get blown up.
Right? Or
Your strengths get shown.
magnified. Yeah. 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 And so that's why I'm saying that the Grimes thing, just be patient. I know I called them ham sandwich. I called them a ham sandwich for a reason. The reason why I said he was a ham sandwich is because Cat from day one was saying he was going to be Klay Thompson. Relax. Relax. Kawhi Leonard didn't break out the box and be the Kawhi we see today. It took years of seasoning and development.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Mikal Bridges. The same thing with Paul George. Look, like there was a time in the Knicks Pacers pseudo rivalry after Reggie Miller retired that we didn't know who the better player was going to be, Paul George or Amon Shumpert.
Matter of fact, remember this? I'll give you this one. Knicks fans were comparing Iman Shumpert to Jimmy Butler, by the way.
Yes.
That
Yes.
was the real comparison. It was Jimmy Butler and Iman.
Right. And I can point out the play. I can point out the exact play that put Paul George on the path to stardom and took Amon Shumpert off the path to stardom. Right?
Was it the dunk again on the Heat?
Nope.
Okay.
It was it was a play where both of them were together.
Oh.
It was a play. The Knicks were playing the Pacers in the playoffs, and Amon Shumpert got on a heater, but our guards got in foul trouble. And Mike Woodson looked at something like, man, you got to do some playmaking.
Oh, he couldn't do it.
Right. But they had just started that experiment like 3 months before that.
No,
And you
Freezie, I want to remember this.
Huh?
Before Mike Woodson got the job, you remember D'Antoni tried to make him a point guard for like 5 games, and he just tossed that in the trash.
Yep.
Because he couldn't do it. He couldn't. Then he tried to make Melo a point forward, and
right.
And Melo averaged the most assists for his career, but it wasn't that good.
But it's not his. It wasn't his mindset.
It wasn't his game. Like it wasn't his game.
But the thing about it is Amon Shumpert did it at Georgia Tech with
He was a combo guard at Georgia Tech.
he was. I think it was either him and Jarrett. It was either him, Jarrett Jack, and
Jarrett Jack was too old for him.
Okay, so it was either him and Chris Bosh or him and Derek Favors. I can't remember, but it was some combination of Amon Shumpert and another high lottery pick at Georgia Tech, because Georgia Tech had went to the championship game and lost to Kemba Walker, I think. or the Final Four and lost to Kim. I can't. But Amon Shumpert in a pinch played point, and he looked like a more explosive Tyreek Evans, if that's possible, right?
Mm.
And so the play was Indiana had gone on a run because they were posting up.
It was Derek Favors,
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
and he played with Glenn Rice Jr.
Glenn Rice Jr. Yeah, 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 yeah. And so the the Pacers had gone on a little heater because they found a matchup where Melo had to guard David West, and
Oh,
David West
tortured him in the
absolutely
paint.
cooked Melo, right? And so on this play, they started trapping West. They kick out the ball to Paul George, who had been struggling. Right, Paul George had been struggling, and then he hit like two in a row. Right, and then on that third shot, because what's the name's Amon Shumpert's offense went away because they needed him defensively, and
Mhm.
so Amon Shumpert's shot disappears. Paul George gets hot. They kick it out, rotate it around. Amon Shumpert goes flying out to Paul George, and he contests Paul George's three. And the videotape shows that Amon Shumpert never touched Paul George, but the referee called Amon Shumpert for the foul on a 3-point shot. And Paul George's confidence went through the roof because now he got a superstar call. And Mike Woodson and the coaching staff absolutely lit into Amon Shumpert, and it wasn't even his fault. It was just a bad call. I mean, they cussed him out. You can see the Knicks coaches he's not even a shooter. Paul George can't even shoot. You know what I'm saying? And the rest is history. You know what I'm saying? Now this dude gets confidence that he can get star calls, and the Knicks guy gets berated and everything, and his confidence goes in the toilet.
Never recovered from it.
And he never recovered from it. It's the playoffs. When I saw it, when I saw it happen, I was like, no, you can't. I know this game is important, bro, but you can't do young players like that. You got to coach up young players, right? And it wasn't even. And when they showed the replay, Shumpert was close to him, but he never touched him. He was close to him, but he never touched him. And the fact that he covered so much ground to even contest was just amazing in its own right, right? But then you see from that point, you see Paul George's ascension to stardom, and Amon Shumpert is a role player.
Yep.
And I saw the same thing happen with Jason Tatum and Kevin Knox.
So we shouldn't do that to Grimes, or might ruin his development.
Nope. It don't matter. It don't matter because ultimately, even though you want to win a championship, you got to have stars to win championship. Right? So why would you put your star out like a star? It's like if you smoking, you don't put your cigarette out if you smoking. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's like you got to be in that mindset where regardless what the outcome is, you got to be supportive of these guys in these early stages, or you know what I'm saying?
Did my thing freeze? Y'all there? I think Freezie had froze.
No, we here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's but the thing the first Jimmy Butler was not even Jimmy Butler. It was supposed to be a dude named Quentin Richardson, right? Doing the stuff but before you allow him to become that, you stun his growth.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. I'm saying that everybody needs to be careful of. Don't stunt the growth of a guy before he be able to become a guy. You just gotta relax.
Mm.
And Luke Skywalker Vision says Shump had the knee injury that hurt his development, but he also had the torn interior muscle tear. You remember the year he was supposed to be in the dunk contest and he didn't because he had the interior thigh muscle tear? That hurt him that year also. And then they rushed him back for the playoffs, and he wasn't 100%.
Yeah, he just didn't look right.
Right.
He didn't have the quick twitchiness, which made his defense what it was,
He had to depend on strength.
and
He had to
position, and he didn't have the IQ for it, at least not yet.
right, right. And for that reason, I'm saying Quentin Grimes is a ham sandwich. Relax, relax. Quentin Grimes is a ham sandwich. Just relax, yo. Don't try to make him into Mikal Bridges yet. Quentin Grimes is so much better than man. Think about where Mikal Bridges was in his first 100 games, and think about where Quentin Grimes is in his first 100 games. Who would you pick? Quentin Grimes. But you got to relax, bro. You got to relax. You got to let this thing play out. You got to slow cook it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If you're Phoenix, you gotta relax.
Put it
bro.
in a pressure cooker.
Yeah,
Literally a pressure cooker. A cooker with pressure, but slowly.
Yeah. JJ is in the building. What's good, man? And Luke Skywalker just says Grimes is baby Clay. See what I mean? Grimes is a ham sandwich, bro. You gotta relax, bro. Let this thing play out. Right? Because Clay in his first 100 games, you don't want to compare. Matter of fact, let me compare Klay Thompson and Ray. What do you think? Do you think Grimes is Klay Thompson?
Well, I mean,
Maybe I'm wrong.
In Clay's first 100 games, he probably had more opportunity, just more free reign because he was a higher lotto pick. I believe he was like a 9 or something. Or was it 11? One of them. 11. Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, he had more free reign. Plus, they got rid of what's his name,
Monte Ellis.
Exactly.
Yep.
So he stepped into a role where they needed the scoring. So he may not have been the Clay that we know him as, like 4 or 5 years in, but probably had opportunity to score. I haven't looked up, but pretty sure he had decent numbers.
Right. I'm just saying, man, just relax on Grimes, bro, and allow this thing to play out because Klay Thompson in his first where is it? Klay Thompson in his first 148 games, that dude was shooting 41% from 3 and 85% from the free throw line. He was taking about 12 shots a game.
Mm-hmm. And he now that I looked it up, he only played 24 minutes a game his first year. Yeah. And it jumped to 36 second year.
Yep.
So that's where the opportunity came.
Yep.
If Grimes played 36 minutes a night, he would be around that many points.
But he don't shoot though.
I mean, with a green light, of course.
Yeah.
But, Clay had the green light and the ultimate confidence. Grimes is one of those guys that, especially with a coach like Tibbs is not going to give him the ultimate green light. Tibbs is going to tell him to shoot when he's open and be pissed when he doesn't shoot when he's open. But Tibbs is not going to tell him to put the ball on the ground and create something for himself.
Right.
He's never going to tell him to isolate and get a 15-footer. Even though he probably has it in his bag. We all know he has it in his bag.
Yeah, he may.
But the moment he does do it and he misses,
right,
then he looks over his shoulder, he sees Tibbs,
right,
then you don't see it again.
Right.
He could only get away with that when JB and Randall don't play. That's about it.
Yeah. I mean, I ain't even gonna lie to you that the Quentin Grimes conversation is one that if you're open to understanding development and the slow cook of it, then you'll understand where I'm going with it.
If we keeping it a buck, SGA was a slow cook. So,
man, SGA is so overrated, bro.
He's very good. I'm not letting that go.
Oh my God.
SGA is a very good basketball player. East Blue Drew. Sometimes the kids need a leash.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If you let the prisoners run the asylum, you get the Houston Rockets.
Yes. Quentin Grimes has only played in 117 games. That's the equivalent of about a season and a half. You know what I'm saying? So what do you do? The alternative is trade all the kids and go get somebody ready made.
JJ is late to the conversation because we're basically saying Quentin Grimes could be the star that we're wanting. It just might take time, and he thinks we're crapping on
No, no, no,
him.
no, no, no.
we're literally saying it might take him 3 years from now to be who he's destined to be.
Yeah, JJ. We totally omitted RJ Barrett from the star conversation. I totally omitted. Dre. You remember I said the
We
guys
said
that,
it
that
was just IQ and Grimes.
IQ and Grimes, right? I omitted Obi and RJ. Yeah. I'm not pointing out RJ this or RJ that. RJ develops when RJ develops. What I'm saying is I think yeah, so what I'm saying ultimately is I think Emmanuel quickly is one or two big moments away from being unstoppable. And I think Grimes is 365 days away from being that guy.
Mm.
And I think both will happen on those timelines. I
Nobody has to go anywhere.
right.
They can stay right there. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know about Obi, but yeah. And even Obi is showing some signs of life. So
Yeah.
not everyone you draft is destined to be a star. Some of them can just turn into good role players.
Right.
Look at who's the guy on Memphis that had that Achilles? He was a bench big Canadian, jumps really high, power forward, plays with energy.
Jermichael
Uh,
Green?
no. On Memphis.
Yeah, Jermichael Green's from Memphis. He used to play for Memphis, bro.
From Memphis, but he's not on there right now. He plays with
Oh,
the
he's on
Warriors.
a different team right now. I mean,
Yeah, he's on the Warriors. I
no,
take
no, no,
that
no.
though.
I'm talking about the guy you're talking about. I know where Jermichael Green's at because he even plays the
Brandon
five.
Clark. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Brandon Clark.
Right. Yeah. Brandon Clark is one of those guys that you could that in theory, if he had handles, if he developed any sort of handle, if he developed any sort of handle, I think that guy could maybe take that next step. But his shooting is bad, his handles are bad, his passing is bad.
He's like an under. He's like Kenyon Martin.
And he's not even a big, he just plays big. He's
He's
a
he's
small
he's
forward.
six. Well, he's 6'8", but you know his skill set dictates he's just a power forward because
Yeah.
but he's jumped so high, so it kind of puts him in the mold of just a power forward. But, you
Right.
know, it's one of those things. But he plays tough. He plays bigger. What his basketball card says.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, bro, ultimately, just to the point that you were making, I think it's an excellent point, one that we should consider having conversations about, as opposed to just going to Pathmark or ShopRite. I think we should consider that quickly is on the verge. Quickly is on the verge, and I think Grimes is on the way, but we can't rush him, and we certainly can't put RJ Barrett's development or Obi's development ahead of them.
It's one of those things where you might look up and we're like, is Quinn Grimes stagnated or something? And then an injury happens in the middle of his fourth year, and then Quinn Grimes starts averaging 23, 24 for like
Yeah.
2, 3 months, and then you have to make a business decision on your
Yep.
roster composition because this guy is as advertised.
Right.
It it's one of those things where it's random. It's completely random when it happens or who it happens for.
Right.
But there's been hosts of guys that didn't hit their big stride until an injury happened, like Mikal Bridges, for example.
Jeremy Grant.
Yeah,
You know.
Mikal Bridges didn't pick up his momentum this season until Devin Booker went down. Then he started averaging low 20s, which he
Right.
never averaged before. And then kept that steam up when he went to the Nets, and now he was averaging 26, 27.
Yep.
So it's like one of those things where it has to be a combination of the right time, right place, right situation. And it might be detrimental to another person where it could be an injury that it
Right.
makes it happen.
Right.
But it's gonna happen at some point for him.
Yeah.
And it may not happen on the Knicks, but it'll happen at some point for Grimes.
I think it's gonna. Not only I think it's gonna happen. I think what's really gonna reinforce it is this: if the Knicks go out and get a young guard behind Quickly and Grimes, like somebody trying to pinch off their minutes. Right now, it's like because Miles McBride, I don't know if it's gonna be that guy, and I like Miles McBride.
Trevor Keels ain't gonna be that guy either.
Yeah, and Trevor Kills.
Change your whole mood here in that man.
Right? Yeah. Trevor Kills, man. Trevor Kills got us in here growling like Thundercats, bro.
And the Nets are going to re-sign Cam Johnson for sure. They have his rights, by the way. So
They're gonna re-sign Cam Johnson, bro. And because what I didn't know is Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges are very good friends.
yeah,
I didn't know that.
they call each other. Well, when they were on the Suns, they were called twins because they go everywhere with each other.
Wow, didn't know that.
They call each other twin, literally.
Wow, didn't know that.
That's how close they are. So
Wow,
they're like bordering on Villanova ties close.
wow,
Probably even closer. So
and didn't they beat each other? Didn't one guy lose to the other in the national championship? Like one dude threw up a buzzer beater to beat the other guy team.
did it?
Yeah,
Because it was Villanova against,
and it was North Carolina because North
Oh.
Carolina hit a buzzer beater, but left.
But
like,
were they playing at the same time?
Yes, they beat it. Yes,
Was
North Carolina hit a buzzer beater on Villanova.
I
and
know.
left like 2 seconds left.
I
and
know.
then
I know
Villanova
it
caught
happened,
it.
but I didn't know they were. I thought that was after they were already in the league.
No, I think those were the. Yeah, I think that's Jalen Brunson's first championship or second championship.
It has
One
to
of
be
them.
his second one. His first one was a little good. No. Yeah.
Nah, the second-
no,
the
no, no.
second
The
one,
second one.
Dante-
The second one's the Dante DiVincenzo game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Dante went crazy. Dante got drafted because of that game.
because of that, and he was smart to come out too. By the way, he was smart to come out after that. But Dre, this is what I'm getting at. This was the point that I was the scenario where I think Grimes absolutely takes the next step. Right? Say for an example, the Knicks get the Mavericks pick at 11. Right? Say for an example that happens. Right? Taylor Hendricks goes one spot ahead of us to say Utah. And then the Knicks draft a combo guard like Nick Smith Jr. Right? Now, while Nick Smith Jr. on the surface is not ready to play, I don't think he's ready to contribute to.
But the idea of you bringing in someone can offend or motivate someone to
Right.
just be like, "Yo, it is completely pointless. You made this move.
Right.
You're gonna have to get him up out of here at the end of the year because I'm gonna play 35 minutes a night at this position.
It's my time. Yep. You bring him in. He's at his draft age.
Basically what Obi and Randall,
Right, right,
where it was like, oh, you drafted this guy. Well, I'm going to be all NBA this year, so
right,
figure that out amongst yourselves.
right. And JJ, listen, man. The Knicks are absolutely gonna keep that pick. And so I was gonna talk about that during the summer, but the season's over. And well, so here's the reason why the Knicks are gonna keep that pick. Because regardless of what the outcome is this summer, you don't want to have for the fourth year in a row major roster turnover. Right? And I know some people will be like, well, it's not major, just trade Obi, man, and just nah. What they did that in 2021, they were like, well, all we got to do is just change the backcourt, and we missed the playoffs.
Mm.
Right? Right? And so now the bounce back is this. Like think about it. 2021 major turnover, 2020 major turnover, 2022 major turnover. Do you honestly want to go into 2023 with the mindset that you want to do major turnover and possibly disrupt the chemistry that you built on a playoff team? I know you have to improve. I know you have to improve, right? I know this. I understand this. But if you're in the mindset where you feel like you have to extend quickly and you have to keep Hart and you have to give Hartenstein an extension, are you really looking to go out and with all those things on the table? Are you really looking to go out and get a star to come in here and take the ball out of Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson's hands?
Mm.
Right? Just think about it. Do you really go get, say for instance, they want to go get Kevin Durant? Do you really want to say for instance, Kawhi Leonard? Not Kawhi Leonard. I'm sorry. Kyrie Irving is like, man, listen, man. If I sign with the Knicks, I promise I'll be an ideal citizen. I'll be the perfect soldier, whatever. For the Knicks, man, my dream has always to play in the blue and orange. I promise. Do you really want to disrupt what the Knicks have right now to bring in that guy or a guy like that? Do you really want to stop the Quentin Grimes development, the Emmanuel Quickly development, and bring in Zach LaVine? Right? And so with that mindset, and I'm not saying that I'm right, but I give these things a lot of thought. Right? I follow patterns and trends. Right? The Knicks every offseason do have major turnover, and it takes them deep into the season to figure it out. How many seasons are we going to give away?
If we had Josh Hart from the start of the season and the chemistry in the training camp, we went probably 54 games, 55 games.
Right. Easy. If we'd have had Josh Hart from the beginning of the season, we'd have been able to withstand the Brunson injury, the Obi injury, and the RJ injury.
Don't forget Mitch.
And well, yeah. Right? It's one of those things like when are we
and then doing it, that gives you the added idea of like more seasoning, which is why I'm like, which is even more in my head makes me think the big deal isn't happening this summer. It's going to be next summer.
Right. And then plus you also we're coming up on the eve of game 2 in the playoffs, right? And so we're thinking one way, but I'm certain we'll be thinking another way when our season is over.
Yeah, when you take in everything in totality.
Yeah. Because the thing is, and in a one game sample size, Julius Randle is not the guy from that Atlanta series. Julius Randle is a very good NBA player, and it's just a one game sample. right? But when you take into account the way that roster looked then versus what this roster looks like now, do you really want to say make the major move? And then the question begs, well, who is that guy that you bring in? Who's being replaced?
We don't even know who's available. Don't even know.
Right.
I think what the direction and what we need will be even more evident after next offseason, not this one. This is like putting it together, and then we're building cohesion and an identity that we want to bring through into the next season.
Right.
And then you want to add someone that puts you over the top, that also fits that identity and all these things. That's also on the same timeline. Because JJ said these guys are not 22, but they're also not 32.
Okay.
Like we got to keep it like a buck. Like Randall's still 2 years away from 30 after this year.
Right. And you know what? Also, the thing you got to take into account, say the answer is small forward, right? Say we're totally fed up with RJ Barrett. We feel like we need improvement at that 3. Then if you bring in a star level guy, because you're not going to bring in a ham sandwich. So you bring in a star level guy, he's going to play 35 minutes. You know what that means? You just cut Josh Hart's minutes all the way down to about 15 minutes a game.
And then what do we sign Josh Hart for?
And so now, why are we paying Josh Hart $18 million to play 15 minutes?
You would have to immediately try to pivot and use him as the filler in the trade, because that's the only logical sense. And then teams might not even want that, because they'll be like, Josh Hart is making $18 million, but he plays 15 minutes and only averages 7 points.
Right.
Even if it's like 50% from the field or whatever.
Right. And then what happens if you chase that guy? What if you chase that guy this summer and Josh Hart gets a honey offer from Philadelphia? Right? Josh Hart gets that honey offer from Philadelphia. He can go and take over the starting 2-guard spot for Philly with Maxey coming off the bench.
I think Max is a full-time starter now.
Or okay. So say
or Tobias Harris whenever Tobias Harris gets going, because eventually the Sixers are not going to keep that guy.
Right, but they'll have dead money coming off. I think they can afford just say the Clouds part, and they're able to offer Josh Hart a major role for their team.
Right.
And then you don't get the superstar. And now not only did you get a superstar, you lost Josh Hart. You standing there holding your money. Your money is no good because there's nothing to spend it on. And now you want RJ Barrett to turn out to be something that he's not.
Think sometimes playing it out and just waiting it out is the best thing to do in the short term.
Right. I'm thinking a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. That's what I'm thinking. Like just you know what I'm saying? Not saying that JJ is wrong, because I understand his perspective.
I understand it as well.
And JJ, all I'm doing is kind of just thinking through the processes, I'm thinking my way through it, right? Like legit, if you bring in a 3, that means Josh Hart is gonna get less minutes at the 3, and if he gets backup minutes at the 2, then what are we doing with Quentin Grimes' minutes at the 2? I mean, I'm sorry, with Emmanuel Quickly's minutes as the backup 2.
Both of them.
Because you want Jalen Brunson to play at least 33 minutes a game, and now you're talking about Quickly only playing 15 minutes a game.
You're just screwing with cohesion at that point.
Yeah. And so some upgrades are just too good to pass up, right? Like some upgrades are too good to pass up.
Right. Like if a Kawhi decides, hey, I want to get traded,
Yeah.
then you got to
Then
pick up the phone and get to work and to try to make it happen.
right.
But like, I'm only budging if it's an All NBA type guy. I'm not budging for a Bradley Beal. Like,
Right.
no, I'm not budging for a Zach Levine.
Right. No. I'm not I'm not calling them for Zach Levine. I'm having them call me.
And
Right?
see what they want.
And yeah, they like what are you offering for Obi? Okay, well, let's start with Zach Levine. You know what I'm saying? Some ridiculous thing like that. But also just real quick, right? So Tibbs is in his bag when he does a 9-man rotation, right? Right. So Tibbs is in his bag in a 9-man rotation. Hartenstein is here to stay, whether people like him or not. I think they're going to extend Hartenstein or figure out some way to keep him around. I don't think they're going to let him blossom in New York and then test open market free agency. I think that'd be a terrible mistake on their part, right? And also if Hartenstein is one of those 4 spots on the bench, right? And if Quickly is one of those 4 spots on the bench, and Hart is one of those 4 spots on the bench, then now the only person is Obi. Do you keep Obi or do you trade Obi? Right?
Think you probably trade Obi to reset the rookie scale.
Right.
Like we keep that pick and get a rookie with it, and then move Obi for whatever future pick or future seconds or whatever,
Right.
just to get that contract off the books and just reset it with another rookie.
Dre, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. What happened to my internet? Why is my internet acting funny? My internet has been acting bizarre since like Sunday, bro.
Spectrum.
But Spectrum, man. Spectrum. So what I would do if it were me, I would trade Obi to Indiana. Right? But not for that, not for those
27.
first round picks. Right? If it were me, I would trade Obi for Kendall Brown in their second round pick. Right? That way I could put Kendall Brown on a second round pick contract. Like 2 + 1 for $9 million. Like play 2 years, prove it, depending on what the thing is, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know what I'm saying? But like, you don't want to put him on that jail contract like the Mavs had Jalen Brunson on. Like Mark Cuban thinks Jalen Brunson left because his mama said, no, y'all put a second round pick on a 4-year contract with no opt-outs. That's why he left. He never got the opportunity to prove to y'all that he was, or he proved time after time that he was worth it, but y'all kept him in that bad contract. That's why he gone. Right? And so what I would do is put Kendall Brown maybe on a 1 + 1, something like that, and take that second round pick and put that second round pick on a 1 + 1. Maybe you'll get lucky, catch lightning in a bottle, and get like a 6'8" scoring machine, a 6'9" scoring machine where Tibbs can teach him defense. Maybe some type of, maybe you can get lucky and a Noah Clowney falls to you. You know what I'm saying?
Like Noah Clowney.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think ultimately, I think if they do the first round pick, like at 27, I think they'll take Noah Clowney. And where it says Kendall Brown and a second for Obi nah, man. It's not about Obi. It's about Obi's contract. It's about Obi contract, bro. Because
Obi making damn near $10 million, man.
Right, and he's extension eligible.
And we're not gonna extend him.
No, man, that's what I'm saying. So with that said, when have the bro, like cats are legit thinking that Josh Hart gonna get $18 million. He ain't getting $18 million from the Knicks.
He getting 15.
Yes, because if Julius Randle can take a pay cut and Jalen Brunson can take a pay cut,
and you say you like New York so much,
yes, yeah.
You say stuff like, "Oh, I'm looking to come back."
Right.
Well, somebody better blow your socks off and offer 20 million.
Because the Knicks ain't matching it.
Yeah, so you better take this little 3-1
Yep.
15, for $60 million.
Yep.
Yeah, and keep
Yeah.
it pushing.
Yeah. And you get to win. People forget this is
You get to
Josh.
win alongside one of your best friends.
Right. You get to the people forget this is Josh Hart's first playoff series. There's something to be said about that, bro.
And also, his wife has. It's also funny. It's like a lot of times NBA players, their wives have enthusiasms that have to do with New York.
Right.
So his
And
wife would love to live in New York,
right. And
which
if
is
she
why Melo's came here, if you recall.
right. Yep. Yep. Because she used to be Lala used to be all over the radio in New York. Right. But here's the thing. Here's the thing too. If you ask Patrick Ewing if he would give back about 10 now think back to what they used to make because $10
Yeah,
million dollars right
$10 million
now is
back
nothing.
then. Yeah.
Right. Is it was
And this
everything
salary, or you turning like 10 millions in a year over a course of time,
just over the course of time.
over like
Or
what
or
time?
let's
Same time.
let's say it this way. If you told Pat Ewing he had to play a whole season for free, if he could win a championship, he'd say sign me up. If
Yeah.
you ask Charles Barkley if he had to play one season for free in order to win a championship, he'd say sign me up. Right? I'm assuming this. I'm assuming that these guys, these ultimate competitors, would sacrifice winning over a paycheck. Right? And so the thing with cats like Josh Hart, man, you're in a perfect situation, minimal expectations. You come out there and play freely, just play your game, and you can win a championship doing it, and you can do it with your friends, and in an environment that's friendly, bro. Well, how could you pass that up?
Yeah, right. I don't see him asking for a ton of money anyway. So
Yeah.
I really don't. I don't think his market would even dictate it anyway.
And
So
CWC said, "Cut the BS, man. Stop trying to get rid of Obi." Bro, it's not. Listen, CWC, you gotta listen to what
it's
I'm
it's
saying.
it's it's a business thing, not a feelings thing.
Yeah, it's not a personal thing with Obi. It's Obi's contract because Obi is going to be looking for the same money as Josh Hart with less production,
With a all-star power forward sitting in front of him.
blocking him for the rest of his career. Because Obi can get 5 years. Obi can get 5 years, right? And so now you're talking about Obi signing a 5-year deal to be Randall backup, and he gonna be making like 15 mil a year, bruh. Yeah,
Yeah, it's more of a black and white money thing than feelings. Because
I'll be right
if
back,
it was
y'all.
up to me, Obi would be a Nick forever, but it's not realistic. Agreed, Ashley, or not Ashley. That is Wiz for sure. it's. I, I think I don't know. Josh Hart might actually stay for like 14, $15 million over 4 years. Wiz, he said it not for the future first because he wants to target a guy that's a second rounder that he can give a second round contract to. That'll make way less than a first rounder. You can like build up your treasure trove of potential talent and projects while you're trying to win. Because ultimately you want to have something in reserves while you're trying to compete. can't go all out with an entirely old roster.
Man, y'all got quiet.
No, I was talking. You didn't have your headphones on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was explaining a few things to why you said Kendall Brown in the second rounder,
Right. Right. And it
and
and
I responded to that as well too.
so what'd you say about Kendall Brown? Y'all not liking Kendall Brown?
No, 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 no. I was saying you need to have younger guys, or if you're trying to compete and trying to compete, if you're trying to compete, you need to have younger guys in reserve developing underneath under on the second rounder deal that's not making a ton of money, but are
Right.
still projects and still being developed.
Right.
It's not something that you don't want to be the oldest team in the league with no means of pivoting. It's like it's like there's a reason why Marjan Beauchamp is on the Bucks right now,
Right.
and
Right.
how they flipped off of Jordan Walber.
Yeah. To reset contracts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they see someone with Marjan Beauchamp that he can be someone that could be in the rotation and play along Giannis in the next few years.
Right.
Hey
Right.
Freezy, I'm gonna get offline,
Yeah, man.
but
I'm gonna get out of here too, man, because
yeah.
um got a busy day, man, starting at 7. So I'm gonna go ahead and get me like a good 40 minutes of sleep and get up and start this day.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, man. Hardcore, bro.
Grind don't stop.
Hardcore, man. Got doctor's appointment, got a funeral. So I won't be able to do the next morning drive in the morning because of obligation.
My
But
condolences.
yeah, man. Appreciate it, man. All right, y'all. We're gonna get out of here, man. Peace, everybody. Later.
Peace.